Fitness pioneer Jesse Benson's journey to empower health and wellness. Join us as Jesse shares his inspirational path from a young weightlifter enthusiast to a transformative figure in the fitness world, revolutionizing industry standards. Explore his milestones, innovative approaches, and unwavering commitment to reshaping health and wellness paradigms. Tune in for a glimpse into the visionary mind behind cutting edge fitness models and the deep dive into the heart of a true wellness luminary. Welcome to the Wellness Driven Life Show, where you're about to go on a wellness driven ride. Let me share a little bit about the guests that we have here today. Jesse Benson, founder of Fit Integrated Wellness and the National Personal Training Academy, is a pioneering force in fitness and wellness. Over 17 years, he has revolutionized the industry, mentoring trainers, conducting thousands of sessions, and innovating with the Fit in 30 Minutes approach. His influence extends through certifications, awards, philanthropy, and cutting-edge wellness models. Jesse's inspirational journey epitomizes passion, dedication, and transformative impact in health and fitness. I am so pleased to help welcome to our stage today, Jesse Benson. Welcome.
April, thank you so much for having me and giving me the opportunity to connect with your audience. I'm very excited to be here.
Well, I'm excited to have this conversation. You are a guru in the physical aspect of fitness. And we can see that you've got your studio right behind you, your gym. And so I'm excited to dive a little bit deeper. I've seen some of your commercials for it and it looks really cool. So I want to share this with the audience and how you approach fitness in all of those regards. But let's get started by sharing a little bit more about yourself outside of that brief biography.
Yeah, I'm obviously a fitness enthusiast. I love to stay active. My passion is endurance riding. So I often spend time deep in nature where I connect both spiritually and physically. It is just a wonderful cocktail of adrenaline and, again, deep nature, which I feel is definitely integral. Other things I enjoy doing, I've got a lot of different hobbies. Unfortunately, we can only have 3 of them, but I do really enjoy also target practice and shooting, rollerblading along the seawall with my pup. And anything on 2 wheels is always where you can find me.
I love that. Rollerblading with your pup. That sounds really fun. And you talked about nature and integrating, and I love the word you said, that cocktail, for combining some of the things where you're getting a little bit of nature, spirituality, and the physical aspects all in one. Those are my favorite as well.
Yes, they are definitely important. Other aspects of my overall fitness, I work out every day. So I have a great training partner who's a couple years older than me. He kicks my butt, and the push is always needed. It doesn't matter whether you're a fitness professional or just somebody getting started. We all need that accountability, that partnership, that camaraderie. I always say the best part about fitness is that you get to do it with others. Right? It's not a go it alone thing. So definitely finding a fitness buddy is always a great way of doing it. It's actually another thing that we specialize in doing here at Fit Integrated is we actually partner people up, because we found that when people partner up, 1, the accountability is there. 2, they tend to push themselves harder, not in a competitive way, but more in a supportive way. And it's just human nature at the end of the day. So I think working out with other people who share those same values, who are also on a path of wellness and health, is integral to your long-term success. So those are just some of my little insights and tidbits.
Well, I can see, Jesse, behind you. You've got somebody working with, I assume, as a trainer, and that's a part of that, working with somebody that can lead you, guide you, encourage you, cheer with you right along the way. And you're right. That is one of the biggest things about how we really succeed so much further when we have somebody alongside with us, or many other people. So let's talk a little bit about, let's go back into your personal history. What inspired you initially to be in this wellness arena?
I discovered fitness at a very young age. I know for everyone it's a little bit different. Sometimes people discover it later in life, but I found it very early on in my early teens, where I unburied and discovered some rusted weights in my father's shed, and I set up in my parents' basement. At that time, it was a tumultuous time in our household. My parents were arguing, they were fighting, they were essentially separating, and as a way of dealing and coping with all of that, I started to kind of channel it into these weights, and I found a way to deal with the pain, and lifting weights is very much a healing process, and finding one's strength. It's not something that we're necessarily born with. It's something that we need to find within ourselves, and so lifting weights is just a really good way to do that. I recommend it to everyone, even young teens. I think there isn't really too early of an age for people to get started, and the benefits are tremendous. I was able to learn invaluable skills and core values and principles through that practice that I, ultimately was very passionate about. And as a result, I was able to find my purpose, which was to be able to share that with others and help as many people as I can.
Mm. Jesse, I had a guest on the other day, Forbes Riley. You may or may not know who she is, but she mentioned on during the interview that she's her husband is a weightlifting champion, and so he's encouraging her to do some things, and she decided upon herself that she was going to do that. And so she's working out a lot, she's losing weight, and she says, April, I'm finding myself crying in the gym, like every day that I go and I'm working out. She says, I think it's my fat, and my emotions that are being released. And that made so much sense to me. What is your take on that?
Absolutely. If we think about it, we're uncomfortable, and those emotions are going to rise to the surface. And it's not uncommon at all for clients to break out emotionally, and it's a very healthy process. And obviously, it takes the right trainer or coach who's equipped to be able to handle that situation. But anytime I have a client who breaks out in tears as a result of that emotions rising to the surface, I'll often ask them, are you okay to keep going? And 9 times out of 10, they said yes. They don't want to stop. They want to be able to work through those emotions, process what's going on in that moment, and it's beautiful. And so, in a lot of ways, the work doesn't really begin until we get there, and the real work, the transformative stuff. And I'll share one story in particular. I had a new trainer that I was onboarding. We were training a client together. She was doing some rotational work, which triggered pain in her abdominal section. And immediately she broke out into tears, after which, and immediately the trainer, he was like, oh my God, what do I do? My client's crying. I said, oh my God, this is amazing. Like, keep going. This is like a magical moment, transformative moment. After which she shared with us that it was due to a child that she had to basically give up or upon birth, and that pain in her abdominal section was just the trauma of that memory. And so, our minds only do so much. They do very little, actually. They certainly don't process emotions. Our bodies do that.
Bodies. Yeah.
And so when we work out, we're really working things out, and we can find things that are trapped in our bodies that need to be worked on or released. One of the most wild things I've ever done was breath work. Just lying down and breathing for an hour is absolutely incredible. and way harder than it sounds. But it just goes to show, how incredibly amazing our bodies are when we learn to connect with them, build a healthy relationship with them, and how they connect the mind, the body, and the spirit, which I absolutely love that you incorporate as well.
Well, you have to have it all because we are all of that. And it is a beautiful process when somebody is releasing those emotions and that trauma. And I love that you offer space for that and your mindset around that, that you feel it's a beautiful thing. And, congratulating somebody of going through that process. And yeah, again, safe place. I mean, if I were going to choose a gym, that is where I would want to be, where that is welcomed, where it is supported. And so bravo, I love that you do that. And it's certainly, it's like a fast track, right, Jesse, to releasing things. I mean, so often many of us human beings, we bottle it up because we don't know how to, unless we've gone through extensive work and where we have learned how to release it in a healthy way, which oftentimes, again, it incorporates that physical body movement to help. Motion creates emotion, is what my husband always says, and so that's part of it, where the motion creates emotion. So we're releasing those traumas and allowing our body to get it out healthy. But again, it's like this fast track way of doing so in order to create that healthy flow, mind, body, spirit.
Absolutely. Everyone, this thing is open to anyone's interpretation, right? And how they want to do it. Definitely creating a safe place is important. I almost feel the need to emphasize that almost detracts from it in a way. I feel like, fitness is inclusive just by nature. It's about people helping people and people moving and being active. Certainly attaching labels to that, I feel is not really needed. However, unfortunately, there are a few bad apples that kind of spoil it for the rest of us. But in my opinion, making fitness accessible to people is really coming down to the major obstacles, which are time, cost, and obviously location. Not necessarily, it shouldn't be about status or gender or skin color. Certainly, like in my opinion, like fitness is about breaking all of those barriers and and um, yeah, it's something that's definitely come to my attention. It was never something that I had to intentionally think of, but definitely today it's on everyone's minds. Is the gym a safe place for me? And it's
Mm.
even sad to hear that question because it's like, absolutely it is. But
Yeah. Well, many people, especially if they've allowed themselves uh, to get really far off that track,
mhm,
right? And so they allowed their bodies to go in an unhealthy direction. Many people during the global pandemic experienced that, and then we're stepping out of that, and so now we're coming further and further out. But there's a lot of people that got new habits that are not so great for them. Now, stepping into a gym, you
mhm.
want to retract from that a little bit because you're embarrassed of what you created in your life. And so, how do you navigate that with your audience in sharing with them and showing them that this is a great place for you to come?
That's a great question because it, COVID really did change many landscapes, especially the fitness landscape, and everyone put on the COVID-20 or COVID-19 and revisiting fitness and rebuilding that relationship with fitness again can be quite intimidating and daunting. Um, and I think what we've done is we always focus on the client, like what is in the client's best interest. We always start there from a client-centered approach, in everything that we do. Every decision that we make is always centered around our client. Online has been a really good way for people to get back on the fitness wagon. given that they can do it from the comfort of their home. It's safe. There aren't other people there. But of course, when people inevitably outgrow that setting and do need heavier weights or perhaps access to equipment, it is great that we also have access to they also have access to the facility, and it is important that they reconnect with people in the gym. In fact, there was the largest study done during COVID that showed that the greatest benefit of actually being part of a fitness center is the social interaction.
Yeah.
They coined it social value, and basically the human interaction that you have at the gym will have a greater impact on your health and well-being than the training itself. And so by
Wow.
nature, we are social creatures, and we need that human interaction in order for us to be physically and mentally healthy at the end of the day. So we cannot be afraid. And we did rehabilitate a lot of people post pandemic who were terrified of the fitness center. They were terrified of touching equipment. They were so scared to take off their mask. We were one of the first places where people were able to do that safely, right? And so it was our job to make them feel comfortable, to make that transition, because they would often say, this is the first place that I've taken my mask off in public. This is the first time that I've been in a public setting where I'm touching equipment that other people have used and stuff. So that was one of the many responsibilities that we had both as a fitness center and as trainers.
I like to appreciate the things that come out of difficulties and challenging times, hardships, because it really opens you up to have to think in different ways, to learn how to navigate, to do things differently in order to meet the needs of the environment and the things that are happening. And but going back to that community, to the social aspect, you're right. There's been a lot of studies done. The blue zone studies come to mind, where they find that that is a vital piece in our longevity, is community. And what better way than to have community where you're taking care of yourself physically, right? So I think another thing too, when it comes to relationships, if you're looking for friends, if you're looking for a partner in crime throughout life, it's better to meet them at the gym than at the bar, right? So I think that that's a really good sell point, to have people come and do the things that are good for you, healthy for you, and to build community and relationships there.
uh, Community is actually one of our three core values, along with growth, um, and connection. Now, community is something that not everyone fully understands, and one of the extensions, one of the ways that we um, uh, deliver on that core value is through our by donation community classes, and these are completely free or by donation. Again, given that our mandate is to make fitness more accessible, that really is in line with it, right? If you don't have enough money to be able to connect with other fitness goers, then what better way to do it than through a by donation community class, where you can donate a clothing item or a food item. And now we're also exercising our giving muscles, because part of being a community, active member in a community, is teaching people to also give and support other people in that process. The other thing that I love about our community class is all the proceeds gets donated directly to local communities, where we're feeding people, we're clothing people, and actually being a part of that community. A lot of that's been lost. It's not just a gym membership. It's not just, I'm part of this gym, I'm part of this community. It really has to be more grassroots than that. And I would even go to say that prior to social media and cell phones and all these things, the gym really was the watering hole, so to speak, where everyone congregated. and rallied around certain causes. So it's how word got around. For example, I remember one time there was a family that was burned out of their home, and everyone at the gym was asking, what had happened, how can they support it, what was the phone number that they could call to send money to that family, and that was really the role that gyms and communities played. And I found the fabric within communities has to be much smaller, but I think now that things are so much on a global scale, it becomes almost paralyzing in a way of how can I actually help my community? How can I be a part of my community? And a lot of that sadly has been lost. So we're actively trying to bring that back. What are the local needs of our community? How can we impact those? And it might sound small or feel small, but that's actually how it should work. The other thing that, and I lost my train of thought a little bit, but it should come back to me. Once upon a time, there was only so many outlets. So like if you didn't see it in a newspaper, if you didn't see it in a magazine, you had to get it from an individual, right? And oftentimes people would come to their fitness trainers for just about everything, like news, updates, local events, things happening, but also for their health and fitness information. They relied on us as their number one resource and expert. And what we found with phones and all the rest of it and the internet was now they had another source of information. And for better or for worse, we kind of became like their secondary resource, or we saw the information overload starting to take place. And now fast forward with COVID, the combination of people eating out more often, like not cooking as much, the information overload, along with the convenience factors, that we've actually seen people regress from where we were 10 or 12 years ago. We've regressed. I've had trainers come up to me recently where we have to completely redo all of our learning materials, all of our dietary materials, because there's many clients who simply haven't even cooked a piece of protein in the last 2 years. They no longer own the pots and pans as a result of COVID. And on one hand, we feel like we're advancing with all of this stuff, but in actual reality, we're regressing. And I think it's important for us to identify what these tools benefit us and where they hold us back or potentially even regress us. Because when you look at the statistics of obesity and health, it's getting worse despite the fact that there are more fitness centers, more trainers, more information now more than ever. So we have to stop and ask ourselves, what's going on? What's wrong? What isn't working? What do we need to stop or do without in order for us to actually get our health, communities, and everything back on track?
Jesse, I think you bring up one of the most important points. It's information overload, where sometimes we feel like information overload. I don't know what to do because there's too much and I can't make a decision because there's so many thoughts and so many processes. And you're right. I would think that during COVID, more people would be cooking at home, but, the fear of going out to the grocery store, et cetera, et cetera. And so then we had delivery available to us. So that was one of those things. So it does make sense where there is a little bit of regression there. So it sounds to me too that you're offering a lot of different aspects. We're going to move into our commercial when we get back. Let's talk about that and how you integrate business with the information, the online, and going in that direction to have a broader audience as well as inside the gym. So stay tuned.
Awesome.
Are you ready to take control of your ride to wellness? Rev up with Driven Living. Visit www.drivenliving.com and buckle up for a journey. Get exclusive access to our Wellness Driven Life Show guest portal, where you can dive deep into the minds of our esteemed guests. Sign up for our newsletter and get insider scoops on these distinguished personalities. It's like having a backstage pass to their life-changing wisdom. But that's not all. You'll also receive a free hug. You heard me right, a free hug. An enlightening ebook from the Driven Living team. Discover the science-backed benefits of hugging yourself. It's a fill-up for your wellness tank. Because at Driven Living, we believe in fueling your journey to wellness, both physically and psychologically. So what are you waiting for? Visit www.drivenliving.com today. Welcome back, everyone, here with Jessie Benson, and we are talking about health and wellness, and a lot of it on that physical side. And you can see here that Jessie is inside his gym. So let's discuss a little bit about how you navigate this whole approach. I know that you offer an app. And so what are some of the things, some of the approaches that you offer to your clients?
We offer an integrated wellness approach. And what this means is that, all of us at some point or later will have to assemble a wellness team. And quite often these wellness teams become assembled once we experience an injury where multiple people need to be brought in. Ideally, the wellness team is integrated, meaning they're all in communication with one another. The alternative to that, what can often happen is if you're seeing multiple practitioners or trainers, is that the telephone effects can take place. And we all know how the telephone works, where the client is forced to relay information from one person to the next, whether it be a doctor or a physiotherapist or registered massage therapist. And then the treatments really begin to break down, because at the end of the day, every single practitioner has a piece of the puzzle, of the injury puzzle, of the healing puzzle. And it's only when everyone is in direct communication that that puzzle can really be put together. And we can experience rapid recovery, healing, and full recovery from an injury, both physically and mentally, when everyone is working in tandem around that singular goal. And that's what we've done at Fit Integrated Wellness, is we've assembled a team of practitioners all working together, and it delivers the highest level of comprehensive care, in our opinion, when it comes to the personalized fitness training, all of the recovery modalities. We can deliver the absolute best care. In addition to that, if we need the big guns, like medical intervention, we also have access to imaging. We can review blood work for clients and get more answers that way. We even have access to some of the best surgeons. And so if at any point we get stuck, and something is requiring multiple visits, we can quickly bring in those big guns so that we can get those answers quickly and allow for that client to heal much more quickly and recover from that injury. Because I don't think anyone is a stranger to a nagging injury that somehow can consume them or even take over their entire life, let alone fitness journey, because they're just stuck in this perpetual pain and injury, which given time will just eat away at you. It chips away at your soul almost, where,
Jesse, I highly appreciate your approach, because, when we have everybody on board, you don't have to share your story over and over and over. And I think with many healthcare systems, that's what it's like. And the patient does not feel heard or loved at all, because they're having to share their experience with numerous people along that process of healing.
And I'll add, April, that the client is the least qualified to do so. So it really should not be the client who has to relay all of this complex information. Maybe the client has a bias, or the client has their theory on it, may not be totally in agreement with the diagnosis from that practitioner. And so it really needs to be, again, the practitioners the integrated approach is the
Mm,
future of fitness and healthcare, which is something we're aspiring to bridge that gap to make medical intervention the last possible resort. And because when we combine nutrition, when we combine movement and physical, when we combine these pain mitigating treatments, the body knows what it needs to do. The body is designed to heal itself, and it's
yeah.
really about us creating an environment and for it to do that.
Mm. So that's a really holistic approach, where the body, yes, is designed to heal. And so just giving it those, access to be able to do so. So I want to talk a little bit too. I'd love to know who has inspired you along this journey because, and I can't remember his name, dang it. It'll be after the show where I can look it up. But there's been a couple of people who have really done extensive research on uh, that that way of doing business, whether it's the healthcare system or business in general, where there's all of these different touch points with the client where it's not helpful. And again, going back to the client doesn't feel heard, loved. There's no compassion involved in that. So you definitely take that approach. Who has inspired you in that?
Well, I've had many mentors over the years who've inspired me tremendously, especially when it comes to combining nutrition with fitness. I feel like that's integral. My mentor, Mike Castillo, who was a former Mr. Canada bodybuilder, had honed me in on nutrition very early on in my fitness career, explaining that, if I wanted to help people, I needed to learn and know this stuff myself and live it. And I was on a health quest for many years, experimenting with different diets, different training modalities. As a fitness professional, we constantly need to be learning and experimenting and seeing that, there are truths to everything. Every diet has a truth, and it's being able to find those truths and incorporate them in and see which ones could be best applied to our clients. When we
Mm,
inherited this space, this 5,000 square foot facility, it had the bones that allowed us for treatment rooms. And every single practitioner, every single person who's gone to university, who has dedicated their lives to health and wellness, we all know deep down in our hearts that an integrated approach is the way. When you are a practitioner, and I've seen this, where you've only got access to one treatment. There's only one thing that you can do for your clients, and they're not getting better. You're treating them over and over and over again. They keep coming back for the same injury that you by yourself just cannot fix. Give that 10 years and you're going to lose your passion
mm,
completely. Um,
mm,
whereas an integrated approach allows us to bring in things like nutrition to help with inflammation, which will ultimately lead to the body and tissues being able to heal, for example. um, that's going to be so much more rewarding for everyone involved. And so, like, yes, the science is there, the studies are there, but we intuitively know as practitioners and health professionals that an integrated approach is key. I would just add that um, holistic is awesome. It's fun identifying all the dots, but what's equally important is a pragmatic approach where, great, we've identified all of these environmental factors, but how do we execute on them effectively as a team?
mm,
I've also had some coaches, Pascal Bachman in particular,
yeah.
who is a wellness pioneer, and his coaching has been invaluable. His fitness and wellness journey has been inspiring, to say the least. And
To say the least, I
yeah,
agree.
like, like that alignment alone, I think, is so important. But in addition to all of the wellness mentors and coaches that I've had, I've also had to rely on business coaches and mentors that allow me to create in the business side of things to be able to deliver those experiences and services to our clients. So that can't be overlooked either, given that if you really want to impact a lot of lives, numbers and business do become a part of that.
Jesse, I really appreciate that you talk about doing different things, experimenting with different things. You're correct. When you are a practitioner or you're in the line of work that you are, any person who is on the track of wellness and wanting to share that with the world, myself included, you try a lot of different things because there's so much out there. And again, that information overload, but you have to try in order to see the effects on the body and how it fares for you. We're all a little different, but the most important thing is there's seasons of life, and there are different things that happen to us through our life's journey, right? And our body ages differently, and our environments are different, and the foods around us are different. So all of those things, and whether we're injured or not, they take a different approach that's needed for the body to heal. And like you said, the body knows what it needs, and so just tweaking it a little bit, but doing the same thing in and out is not going to be beneficial for everyone long term. And so I really appreciate that you bring that up. And again, yes, that integrative approach. Now, you have brought so many things to your audience, to the people around you. I love the community piece. My gosh, what a brilliant way to be able to, on so many levels, on a level of business, on a level of compassionate support to the people in the community around you. But doing things for people and spreading that message. I think that when we start to do things and incorporate things, it becomes habit, right? And it becomes these little seeds ingrained in people's mind. And you mentioned it early on, people are learning how to be giving. And that is one of those key things in our wellness journey that feels really good, to be grateful and to be giving. And so you have brought all of those things. What is next for you, Jesse? What is the next big thing that you are working towards and that you're most passionate about doing right now?
Oh, thank you for asking me, April. Would love to share that. We, again, are still in line with our mandate of making fitness accessible to Canadians, to everyone. And again, fitness, in our opinion, is not equipment. People don't need access to treadmills. They don't need access to ellipticals or dumbbells. They need access to people. They need access to fitness professionals. And what I'm really proud to say is that we've made huge strides in making fitness professionals more accessible to Canadians. So we've made it 30 minutes for busy professionals who's got an hour to be at the gym. We've lowered the price point by a third. Most trainers are charging upwards of $80 to $100 per hour. Our services are just $35. And again, the people that we've brought in are very personable and yeah. So what I'm most excited about now is the introduction of our academy, where we're certifying newly certified trainers, and we're giving them the opportunity to gain hands-on learning experience. We give them the shot that very few trainers get, maybe because they don't have the look, they don't have that stereotypical trainer look, but they absolutely have the passion, the heart, and wanting to help people. And that's really what we look for when onboarding these trainers. And as a result, we're able to make fitness training even more affordable for Canadians. We've now lowered the price to as little as $20 per session. And that is for a live human being. That is not a pre-recorded workout. That is not a cookie cutter or a templated program. This is actually, you're getting a fitness professional who's there to hold you accountable, instruct you, show you how to use that equipment that you may have at home online or within the gym, for as little as $20. But my goal is not to stop there. Our goal is actually to keep going. I see an opportunity to not only reduce that price further, but to ultimately make it free. That's my end goal.
Wow.
And establish a non-for-profit called FFA, Fitness for All Society, where we could get funding. And I'm working on this. I have the contacts now in order to be able to make personal training completely free. And that's always been the goal from day one when I started the business back in 2012, was to make, how do I make personal training free for people? Not how do I increase my prices by $5 every year, but how do I make this more accessible? Because when we just focus on the money side of things, we're not making a great enough impact, in my opinion. It's really when we start to remove the monetary component where it becomes just people helping people. And it's what it basically is in its purest form. And anytime we've seen trainers, we've seen trainers given the opportunity to help people, uh, and them working with clients at such a low price point, it's just so rewarding and pure and awesome. And there's just so much light that comes off of it that you can't help but feel that and want to support it, right? And so that's what I'm most excited about right now is the trainers that we're certifying, the fact that we're making it more and more accessible to more and more people across Canada. We're currently sponsoring Matt Devine, who is cycling across Canada, raising money and awareness for some really great charitable causes. But in addition to that, he himself is getting certified as he's biking across Canada.
Wow.
He's one of our affiliates. And so by inspiring Canadians to ultimately take health and fitness into their own hands, we're encouraging them to get certified themselves. And what people don't know is that the majority of people who purchase certifications are actually professionals, people who want to learn this stuff for themselves. And they want the certificate on the wall, but they want to learn it. They want to understand it. They don't necessarily want to rely on external things in order to know how to be healthy and what to eat and how to be physically active and what to do in the gym. And I think that's really what it's about at the end of the day. This is a learning thing. It's not just a doing thing. It's what we learn and apply that ultimately translates into results and change. So really excited about what we're doing with Matt across Canada. That's helping us really reach people in every province and every area of the country. And my hopes is to not only reach people across Canada, but also to one day make it into the US market as well.
I was like, but where are you here where I'm at? No, that's wonderful. It's absolutely incredible. And you have to start somewhere. The business model that you are working towards, there's a lot of people that talk about it. Most do not know how to achieve that, where you have lower pricing and ultimately offering this incredible resource. But you've already started creating that with the trade system, so to speak, the donation system that you have been creating and organizing already. So absolutely beautiful. I love what you're doing. This is the perfect platform to share that on, because the Wellness Driven Life Show is all about that, where we have people on that are really truly working towards changing the world. And so, Jesse, I'm curious, because you're on the Wellness Driven Life Show, what are some of the things that you do on a daily basis to help maintain your overall well-being? You're doing a lot of things, wearing a lot of hats, running an incredible business. So what do you do personally?
Well, I'm all about routine. I learned fairly early on, and thanks in part to my father, who is also very routine based, that the key for me, anyways, health wise, has been really all about routine. And those rituals or those habits, those routines are so integral. I feel like they're the foundation. And anytime I deviate from my routine is where I can fall off the path. And so it's really about valuing those routines and habits where, you learn slowly but surely that you absolutely need them. They're just a non-negotiable. It's what you do. And when I wake up in the mornings, one of the first things that I do is I read. I'll read a scripture or an affirmation quote, and that's one of the first things that I'll do in the day. From there, I'm getting on my pedal bike or my e-bike, and I'm heading up over to work. I'm getting that fresh air blast first thing in the morning, that crisp uh, air, which just really energizes me for the day. It's way better than any cup of coffee out there. And then from there, I'm still working with clients, and I love working with clients because it gets me out of my chair. I'm moving around. It helps me to keep a real good pulse on things, and I'm demonstrating exercises. I'm stretching and lunging and lifting. From there, I'm in my chair for a little bit, doing some emails, meetings, mentoring, what have you. And then next thing you know, I'm getting ready for my afternoon workout. So I'm making sure that I'm hydrated, I'm mentally and physically prepared for that workout. It's going to be a 30-minute HIIT workout. It's very efficient. I'm getting that spike of heart rate. I'm perspiring, I'm sweating. I'm getting a nice release of healthy, happy endorphins. Then it's going to be lunchtime right after that. We've got a fridge here at the facility. I've got my salads and protein. I'm able to have that right afterwards. And then I'm going to take my dog to the dog park, and we're going to soak in some more of that, and maybe even do a rollerblade along the seawall. And I got a couple more emails and meetings to do before long. It's time to get home, where my fiance and I make a point of sitting down and having and sharing a meal together. I feel like that time is so important. It's by far the most important piece of furniture in our home is that dinner table where she'll make a beautiful meal that we're so incredibly grateful for, and we'll give thanks for that food, and our day and everything that we have. And then we'll share a beautiful meal where we can get caught up and reconnected in that way. And then we'll just spend the rest of the evening relaxing. And then before bed, I'll often do some reading. I'll have my grateful journal. I'll say a prayer, and then I'm off to bed. And I'm a bit of an old man, so 9:30, 10 o'clock starts to roll around. It's time to go down. And I also do intermittent fasting once a week. So I just finished a 48-hour fast, and the fasting helps to really ground you and help you better connect spiritually, or even to nature and those types of things. It really helps. True nourishment comes from within, not necessarily from external things like food. And we ingest so much stuff, we don't realize it. Like, whether it be through our eyes, our ears, there's just so much things coming in that you have to really be filtering out and making sure that you're really monitoring what you're putting in. I've never owned cable television. I actually went 4 or 5 years without TV altogether, and we just had an old record player. Um, you know, it in a lot of ways it's about disconnecting and trying to reconnect in other ways.
Jesse, you hit so many of the buckets. Oh my gosh. And you said you had an old record player. Music is the bridge to the soul. You talked about really being able to having the understanding that our bodies ingest toxins so often through ways that people don't normally think about. The skin is the largest organ, and we take in things and we soak in things that are not always great for us. And some of our lotions and soaps aren't always the best for us unless you're a label reader like me. And you're crazy about what you put in on and around your body, but we can't control all of it. So because there's all those environmental toxins. So I love so many things that you mentioned of how you detox that, of the reading, of the outdoor time, the importance around the dinner table. I mean, that's key thing for families in general, to have that time and that commune with one another. And so I love all the things that you said, and I could go on and on. You said so much. Thank you so much for sharing that with us and being an incredible guest on the Wellness Driven Life Show. I want to make sure that everyone knows where to find you. So I've had it displayed on the screen a few times. For those of you watching, you could see that. And for those of you listening in, his website is www.fitintegrated.ca, and that's Canada, correct?
Correct.
Canada.
Yeah.
Love it. All right. www.fitintegrated.ca. And so you can find that information in the description below. Leave your comments. What is your take on this? What are some of the things that you love to do that you integrate throughout your day for your overall well-being? So again, Jesse, thank you so much for being a beautiful guest on the Wellness Driven Life Show today.
Thank you so much for having me, April. That was very, very fun and very cool. Thank you for guiding us through this beautiful chat together.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you so much, Jesse. And you're going to continue doing incredible things. I am looking forward to your global presence, sir. I'm so excited for this and all the things that you offer, the way that you do it. And so it's definitely beneficial for all. And thank you so much for our audience, because without you, the show wouldn't be possible. So goodbye for now, and we will see you next time.